beneath the forest floor, there is an incredible hidden network. It connects plants, enabling them to share resources, send signals, and even warn each other of potential dangers. This incredible network is called the Wood Wide Web, and today we'll be deep diving into how this incredible network operates. Let's dive in. Let's take a quick step back and briefly introduce fungi for anyone who doesn't know a lot about it. Fungi are a completely different kingdom of life, as distinct from animals and plants as those two are from each other. And fungi are everywhere, from dense forests to volcanic ash, under the ocean, in Antarctica, even in the air that we breathe. Most people think of fungi as the mushrooms we see popping up from the ground, but the large majority of fungi actually don't produce any mushrooms at all. Yet, fungi as a whole release a staggering 50 megatons of spores into the air every single year. That is the equivalent of 500,000 blue whales. This makes fungi the largest source of living particles in the atmosphere. So, what is the structure of fungi? Well, hyphae are really the basic structure of fungi. They are the ones that spread out and absorb nutrients. When hyphae grow, they connect with other hyphae and form a dense network known as mycelium. This is what acts as the body of the fungus, extending through the environment. When these mycelium interact with the roots of other plants, this is what forms a mycorrhizal network. Mycorrhizal networks are the underground highways of communication and nutrient exchange between plants and fungi, and they are all connected by fungi mycelium. So, how do these networks work, and what makes them so vital to our planet? There have been many different types of mycorrhizal networks found, but the two most prolific are AM fungi and ECM fungi. By observing these two types, we can see the different types of symbiosis that plants and fungi can form. AM fungi can penetrate the root cells of other plants. The AM fungi mainly supply phosphorus and micronutrients, which are essential for plant growth. The hyphae that are spread out all over the mycorrhizal network collect these nutrients and use the AM fungi like a main line of exchange directly into the plant roots. In return, the plants supply carbohydrates that they produce from photosynthesis to the fungi through the same AM fungi, creating a mutually beneficial relationship. ECM fungi form a sheathed layer of protection around the roots of a plant and also create an additional layer of hyphae network in between root cells called a Hartig net. ECM fungi do not penetrate the root cells though, like AM fungi do. The sheath of ECM fungi around the root increases the surface area for nutrient absorption. They can help certain plant species survive in different climates, and in some cases be the sole cause of that survival. ECM specialize in breaking down organic matter. They recycle dead things back into the ecosystem. These two types of networks form the basis of plant-fungi symbiosis. Let's say a connection forms. A network has been established between one fungi and one plant. Well, that same fungi is also branching out further, constantly looking for new sources of nutrients. It may find another plant close by and create another new connection. Now, the total mycorrhizal network has grown. Not only are the individual plants and fungi in a symbiotic relationship, but the two plants are now also in the same network connected by the same fungi and able to share resources as well. By utilizing the AM fungi, that means that two of these individual plants are now connected at a cellular level. But what if two different of these localized mycorrhizal networks find each other? Now you have two localized mycorrhizal networks connected to form one. Expand this out over and over again, and you arrive at the fascinating doorsteps of the Wood Wide Web. This web gives us insights into the unimaginable complexity of ecosystems. The networks can link the roots of hundreds of individual plants, trees, and shrubs, even across different species, creating an extensive shared resource pool. We see these resources being distributed in unique ways. Most times, we see this as larger or healthier plants sharing resources with younger or weaker plants. For instance, in forests, older trees can send carbon and nutrients to saplings, helping them establish themselves and grow. This sharing can be especially beneficial in nutrient-poor environments. In controlled studies, teams have seen selective sharing and deliberate negotiations between fungi and plants. They have even seen larger plants cut off resources from their local competition, or fungi deciding not to aid a weaker plant and instead to take more from that dying plant and distribute it to a healthier one. The relationships between fungi and plants are as diverse and complex as the relationships we have with each other. We see different levels of resource sharing, from equal exchange to outright parasitic. Oftentimes, the mycorrhizal fungi get thought of as just the links between plants. However, that is not true. They are their own entity after all, with their own interests and purposes. Not only is there diversity in relationships, but diversity in wood wide web types as well. For example, ECMs can create networks just for decomposition. A dying tree stump connected to dying leaves on the ground. In this way, the network would be based around decomposing plants rather than sustaining them. By spreading out from plant to plant, root to root, the fungi ensure a diversified portfolio of nutrients. They will not have to rely on one plant's success for survival, just as they do not have to have a single purpose either. In many cases, there will be split purposes depending on where in the network you look. Part of the network could be gathering and sharing resources, while another part of the same network could prioritize decomposition. So how are all of these decisions and distributions actually happening? Well, there are many complex ways that fungi send signals, often multiple layers of communication at once. While there are numerous studies in controlled settings, this is a very new and emerging resource and extremely difficult to extrapolate out to real world. Plants, just like animals, have their own bioelectrical signaling systems. When they encounter stress, whether it's from pests or maybe even a drought, they can generate electrical signals called action potentials. These signals travel through plant tissues like a defense mechanism. But what's fascinating is that these signals can also move through the mycorrhizal network. Recent studies suggest that the fungal hyphae act as a conduit for these signals. So, when a plant is stressed, it sends electrical impulses through its roots, and if it's connected to the fungal network, the mycelium carry that signal to other plants. In this way, the mycorrhizal network functions like a nervous system for the entire forest. Electrical signals aren't the only way plants communicate. Chemical signaling plays a huge role too. When a plant is attacked by insects or diseases, it releases certain chemicals into the mycorrhizal network. These chemicals can include hormones like jasmonic acid or salicylic acid, which signal nearby plants to step up their defenses. That might mean producing toxins, strengthening their cell walls, or even releasing repellent compounds to fend off attackers. Plants can also release VOCs into the air, which other plants can detect. But underground, the mycorrhizal network spreads these signals faster and more effectively, allowing plants to react sooner. Sometimes, the signal isn't electrical or chemical. It's a change in how nutrients are distributed. If a plant is under attack, it might stop sharing resources like carbon or sugars with its neighbors. This sudden disruption can signal to other plants that something's off, triggering them to take defensive measures. The fungi themselves aren't just passive players in the system. They can actually amplify or mediate the signals that plants send. If a plant is stressed, The fungi might alter their own growth or redistribute nutrients in response. For example, if one plant is struggling, the fungi might reduce the amount of nutrients it shares with that plant to prioritize healthier ones, or to respond to the plant's signals more effectively. Recent research has uncovered some fascinating insights into the hidden world of mycorrhizal networks. One of the most captivating recent discoveries is the concept of the mother tree. In forests, these large, older trees act as the central hubs in the mycorrhizal network. They might have 10 times the number of connections that a smaller or younger tree would have. The mother trees send essential nutrients to younger, smaller trees, or act as a broadcast tower for potential danger. These mother trees are vital to the forest's health, supporting the community in ways we are only beginning to understand. It's a real shame that these trees are often the first to be targeted when lodgers start a project because of their size and quality of wood. The full effects of severing these central hubs to the ecosystem are still not fully known. Perhaps even more remarkable is the discovery that one of the largest living organisms on Earth is a single fungal network. In Oregon's Mount Huor National Park, scientists found a mycelial network of honey fungus, which covers over 3.5 square miles. This underground organism has been alive for thousands of years and continues to connect and nourish the forest above. This was only recently discovered, and the possibility that there are larger networks still undiscovered are very high. I think most people see trees or plants as isolated individuals, but that couldn't be farther from the truth. Beneath the surface, these incredible networks are quietly connecting entire ecosystems, supporting and recycling life, and shaping the world we see above the ground. So next time you're walking through a forest or even your backyard, take a moment to appreciate the hidden world beneath your feet. There's an entire web of life working together, allowing these ecosystems to flourish. If there's anything in particular that you find interesting, please let me know, because I'm always on the lookout for new things about nature. I hope you liked today's deep dive. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.